Hello, self-lovers. My name is Tule, the love activist. I can't believe that this time has finally come. We are now in the 6th year of conversations with a love activist. Welcome. This year, we're doing things a little bit differently. We've changed up the format, and we'll be doing some video stuff, some written stuff on Substack. We'll be on Substack, on Instagram, on TikTok. This is a whole new journey for me, but I'm excited to be going on this very new adventure. 2026, as we know, is a year one, and it's all about new, building new, the pioneering spirit, the fire horse, forward progress. So this is almost like an ignition point for me as Tule the Love Activist. So for those who don't know me, I decided that I'm going to tell my story from the very beginning. How did I get here? So let's start from how did I become a love activist in the first place? So in roundabout 2012, I had just come back from Florence, Italy, to do my honors in studio art. And I had gone to do my honors in studio art as a way to validate myself. And because a piece of paper cannot validate you or make you anything, I came home and had a beautiful unraveling, spiraling, breaking down. And in the process of breaking down, I was living at home with my mom at the time because I didn't have a job, And my mom gave me the book that started my journey, which was a Road Less Traveled by Dr. Scott Peck. And the thing that, the first line that stood out to me was, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. And I had lived my life up to that point in deep, deep victimhood. And that was the first time I'd read something that was asking me to take radical responsibility for my own experience. So that ignited my consciousness journey. I highly, highly recommend A Road Less Traveled by Dr. Scott Peck. Then came A Return to Love by Mary Ann Williamson, which just broke me into a billion pieces. And the first line that stood out to me was, forgiveness offers everything you want. I was like, bitch, it doesn't. What do you mean? This person wronged me. This person wronged me. It spoke about the truth of who we are, that we are one, that separation is an illusion, that we are love, and what we learned here on earth is fear. And the line that always stood out to me was, only love is real. Only love is real. Everything else is an illusion. And I decided right then and there to become a love activist, to use my life, to use my voice, to use my story as a way to spread love, to spread oneness, to spread the truth that we are interconnected, that the innocence in me, seeing the innocence in my brother is me seeing the same innocence in myself, because there is no separation. We are one. So A Return to Love was a huge, huge awakening moment for me to the truth and the reality of our existence, that only love is real. Let me read this part from A Return to Love. Love is what we are born with. Fear is what we learn. The spiritual journey is the unlearning of fear and prejudice and the acceptance of love back into our hearts. Love is the essential reality and our purpose on earth. To be consciously aware of it, to experience love in ourselves and others, is the meaning of life. I think that was my great commission. That was when I received my calling to become a love activist, when I read that. And it yeah, I spent many years even doing the Course in Miracles itself, because the book is just a reflection on A Course in Miracles. The Course in Miracles is a 365-day course in inner peace, which I'm yet to finish, I must admit. But with that great commission and understanding that the fear that I experience is all ego-based, and the ego is the great separator, it's the great fault finder, it's the part of ourselves that wants to separate us from the collective and keep us isolated. I think of the ego almost like as a narcissist. It does exactly what a narcissist does. It isolates, it belittles, it makes you believe lies about yourself, that you are small, that you are insignificant, that you are unworthy, that you are not enough. And the work of love activism, as I see it, is undoing those lies and walking towards the truth. So spent my many years trying to figure out, how do I share this part of myself, this journey of mine called love activism. And then 2020 happened. We all remember the dumpster fire. That was 2020. 2020 was poised to be, 20 That's what we were calling it. We don't even remember because we're so traumatized. But we called 2020 20 I just gotten married in October 2019. So I'm a newlywed. Myself and my husband are both entrepreneurs. My husband makes event software. So we both lost income literally overnight. And then we were also homeschooling Malibongwe, my daughter, and it inflamed. And then all the other pandemics that came up because of the pandemic, the rise of gender-based violence, which for me inflamed my own sexual assault that I had not dealt with. Me Too, Time's Up, all of it, all these things, and having to homeschool my child also inflamed all the microaggressions I experienced in school, going to a Model C school, a previously only white school here in South Africa. There was a week where everything just came to a head, where I lost people in succession, like three lost incidences in 1 week. And I was like, enough is enough. This is too much. What the heck? What do I do now? What do I do with all of this? And I heard a voice say to me, self-soothe. I was like, speak English. Like, what does that mean? And at the time, I was healing from a deep failure. I had put my whole heart and soul into a project for a client, a pilot for a series on the parables of Jesus. And it was a complete and utter failure. That pilot never saw the light of day. I was deeply disappointed. So then going back to this voice now that said self-soothe. I'm like, okay, explain, unpack, what does self-soothe mean? And I was told, the passion and zeal and energy that you are so willing to give to other people's projects, it's now time to internalize that. It's now time to give yourself that same gift, that same energy. And that's how Conversations with a Love Activist was born. At the time, a huge lifeline for me, if you remember, Black is King had come out, and so all the promotion was all over the place. And the song that just literally brought me back to life and helped me to actualize Conversations with a Love Activist after many years of sitting with, I need to tell my story, but I don't know how or where to start, was Bigger. And this line in particular, I have to actually read it. If you feel insignificant, you better think again. You better wake up, because you're part of something way bigger. You're not just a speck in the universe. not just some words in but in a Bible verse. You are the living word. And especially, I don't know why that part, you are the living word, just stayed with me so deeply, or resonated with me so deeply. Not that I don't know, I know why. Because that line to me says that my story matters, my experience matters, and my healing is not just my own. Because as I am living my life, I'm ministering, in a sense. So fine, great. Launch Conversations with a Love Activist as an accountability partner, or using the internet as an accountability partner to my own journey. And every hero's journey needs sages to help them through the process. And my sages were my mother, and we spoke about mother wounds and sex and all these things that Black women are not supposed to talk about, especially intergenerationally or from mother to daughter. I had a Gogo Sophia, who is a womb priestess, because, as you know, the womb is our second brain, and I had a lot of things to work through that were in my womb space, not only the sexual assault, but also a really traumatic abortion as well. And so we did 4 womb mapping sessions, which are extremely powerful. You'll have to go back to the episodes, which are all on YouTube, to see that. And then I went through couples coaching with my husband and the incredible Shannon Pam. Beautiful format, incredibly healing, not just for myself, but for the community and the audience I was building. Then came a time where I was like, I want to turn these learnings into an experience or a course that we could do together. Remember that, as A Course in Miracles says, only love is real. We are one. Separation is an illusion. So I was doing all of this as a gift to the collective, as a gift to my community, knowing that my healing is our healing. Anyway, so I connect with a ex-client, funny enough, to create this self-love course based on, story principles, Jungian psychological, frameworks. She was also a coach, so there were other frameworks that we had built in, and we had built this beautiful 8-week course, but it was missing a very essential element. It didn't have flavor. Flavor. And we're like, it needs to be steeped in African healing modalities. There's so many self-love courses out there, but none that use African spirituality as a means of self-love. And by the grace of God, we got connected to Gogo Rutendo Ngara, who's the wisdom keeper of Credo Muta's work. And we told her that this is the mission we're on. We want to create this self-love course called Uhambo Lotando, which means the way of love. But we need some help, some training, some support in Africanizing it, in a sense. And the first thing Gogo Rutendo said, Gogo Rutendo and Mama Tebucho Bantu, who are working together, that African cosmology is not something that can be taught. You have to experience African cosmology. So we, as your midwives, actually have to curate a special course for you guys to experience and be initiated into or through. And they created this beautiful self-love course for us, which included incarnation objective readings, which is something I'll go into. Basically, it's when midwives back in the day, when a child would be born, they would look at what was happening within the community. Was it raining? Was it harvest time? Was the sun, the moon full? All these, what was happening within the, the family? How did the conception ritual go? All these things. to say that this is the energy structure that this being is incarnating with. This is the blueprint that the soul is incarnating with. This is the contribution they want to make into this community. So that's what an incarnation objective reading. So we had to do an incarnation objective reading for ourselves individually and for Uhambo Lotando. And then we began the course, which was a deep synthesis of 15 years of experience on the part of Gogo Rutendo and Mama Tebucho Bantu. And at the center of this self-love course was Ubuntu. Now, if you haven't heard about Ubuntu, Ubuntu is an African philosophy that says, I am because you are. But that's only half the story of true Ubuntu. True Ubuntu says, I am because of all that is. I am interconnected, interrelated, interdependent on all that is. The Ndu part of Ubuntu is a suffix indicating life force, or consciousness, as I like to say, consciousness being the structure of reality. That is what reality is based on love, on consciousness. So Ubuntu is that life force that animates all life. So, for example, there are different kinds of Ndu. So Umtu, a person, is a being, a human being imbued with Ndu, with life force. But there's Kantu, Hantu, different aspects of reality that are also imbued with life force. And so what living life through an Ubuntu lens creates is the reality that we are that we are interconnected, interrelated, interdependent, whether we like it or not. Like, that's just the way it is. In later weeks, I'll even go deeper, even on the science behind, in quantum entanglement and all these scientific processes that prove Ubuntu. Not that Ubuntu needs to be proved, not that love needs to be proved. And so this blew my mind, number one, that first of all, as African people, we have such rich depths of wisdom that we are not using to live our lives. We're not using to face the contemporary issues that we are dealing with on a daily basis. And it gave me a kind of confidence that is hard to explain when you are embedded within indigenous knowledge, within your indigenous knowledge system. It just gives you this confidence and makes you realize that, oh my gosh, I have so much to give. We have so much to offer, and it is my responsibility as a storyteller, as a love activist, to spread Ubuntu. So in a way, I'm a love activist and an Ubuntu activist in one, because Ubuntu and love, in my opinion, are the same thing. And so my whole framework changed to not just include the healing of people, but to understand. Sorry, let me actually take a step back. So one of the things that stood out to me that actually Gogo Sophia said is that we're having a conversation, and she said racism is a relationship problem. And it hit me that racism, sexism, all the isms, discriminations that we experience, including the climate crisis that we're under, including the relationship we have with technology and money and ideologies and the things that we create, which all fall under Kantu, by the way, are all relationship problems. But the beauty about relationships is that they can be repaired. And that is what Ubuntu can do. It can help us repair relationships between ourselves, between nature, between the things that we create, like technology and AI. And when you start living from an Ubuntu lens, you live from a place of abundance. No longer do you participate in lack economics, which is something else that we'll go into. But all forms of discrimination, the climate crisis, even the crisis we have with AI and technology, are all based on lack, and attack, which is something that we'll unpack. So this journey of being privileged enough to be given this wisdom of Ubuntu has literally, it changed my life. It changed how I do business. At the time I was running my own business, Rainbow Conscious Creatives, which was a inclusion storytelling business, and we were able to include Ubuntu in the way that we work, in the way that we deliver Ubuntu inclusion story assets for our clients. And my dream of connecting in person with this community that has gone on this journey with me over 5 years at that time came to life when I decided to do Ubuntu as Self-Love and Ubuntu Immersion workshop, or story experience as I'd like to call it, which I hosted on my actual birthday last year. And it was such an incredible experience to witness the science of Ubuntu, the science of interbeing, as the Buddhists call it, which we have a lot of time together that I'll go into the interbeing, which has just deepened my appreciation of Ubuntu even more. And so here is a line actually that always stands out for me, especially when I'm going through a very difficult time. 2025 was extremely initiating. I had to close my business after 15 years of building something that I loved with my whole heart and soul. And so 2025 was all about grieving, which is why 2026 really is about a new beginning for me, a new stepping into a completely new reality. And so at the time when I read this out in the workshop, I was in deep sacred grief. And I read to the ladies that were in the workshop: the lack of love you feel towards yourself poisons us all, and the love you feel towards yourself heals us all, because there is no separation. We are all one. And so what we'll be unpacking in these past weeks is how do we hold ourselves apart from the collective, thinking that it protects us. I used to be a chronic people pleaser, believing that if I become useful, if I become indispensable, if I'm always the one who shows up, I'm always the one that's there to comfort, I'm always the one to give and give and give, people won't leave me. So I was using love as a bartering system, but that's love taken from a lack point of view. It's not real. Only love is real. And so I really want us to be really conscious about the ways that we hold ourselves apart, and the ways that we fold ourselves, the ways that we show up inauthentically in the hope that people won't leave us this week, which will be really, really difficult and really, really hard, even for myself, even after so many years of being in the love industry. In a sense, I'm going to be really sitting with, how do I hold myself apart, thinking that I need to show up as this perfect, polished version of myself always. And so I know that we have not just the support of the people around us, not just the support of regulated nervous systems, but that our ancestors are also here to love and support us, that the Holy Spirit is here to love and support us. So as I'm about to close, I was told to do a tarot card reading. So this journey of being privileged enough to be given this wisdom of Ubuntu has literally, it changed my life. It changed how I do business. At the time I was running my own business, Rainbow Conscious Creatives, which was a inclusion storytelling business, and we were able to include Ubuntu in the way that we work and in the way that we deliver Ubuntu inclusion story assets for our clients. And my dream of connecting in person with this community that has gone on this journey with me over 5 years at that time came to life when I decided to do Ubuntu as Self-Love and Ubuntu Immersion workshop, or story experience as I'd like to call it, which I hosted on my actual birthday last year. And it was such an incredible experience to witness the science of Ubuntu, the science of interbeing, as the Buddhists call it, which we have a lot of time together that I'll go into the interbeing, which has just deepened my appreciation of Ubuntu even more. And so here is a line actually that always stands out for me, especially when I'm going through a very difficult time. 2025 was extremely initiating. I had to close my business after 15 years of building something that I loved with my whole heart and soul. And so 2025 was all about grieving, which is why 2026 really is about a new beginning for me, a new stepping into a completely new reality. And so at the time when I read this out in the workshop, I was in deep sacred grief. And I read to the ladies that were in the workshop: the lack of love you feel towards yourself poisons us all, and the love you feel towards yourself heals us all, because there is no separation. We are all one. And so what we'll be unpacking in these past weeks is how do we hold ourselves apart from the collective, thinking that it protects us. I used to be a chronic people pleaser, believing that if I become useful, if I become indispensable, if I'm always the one who shows up, I'm always the one that's there to comfort, I'm always the one to give and give and give, people won't leave me. So I was using love as a bartering system, but that's love taken from a lack point of view. It's not real. Only love is real. And so I really want us to be really conscious about the ways that we hold ourselves apart, and the ways that we fold ourselves, the ways that we show up inauthentically in the hope that people won't leave us this week, which will be really, really difficult and really, really hard, even for myself, even after so many years of being in the love industry. In a sense, I'm going to be really sitting with, how do I hold myself apart, thinking that I need to show up as this perfect, polished version of myself always. And so I know that we have not just the support of the people around us, not just the support of regulated nervous systems, but that our ancestors are also here to love and support us, that the Holy Spirit is here to love and support us. So as I'm about to close, I was told to do a tarot card reading. So I'll be reading from this amazing deck of cards. And the question we'll be asking ourselves as we shuffle is, what can we do to practice self-love as Ubuntu this week? Oh, okay. These two cards fell out. before I even got a chance to shuffle. And these are cards actually I pulled before, and yeah, well, these are the cards that are helping us this week. So let me read. Number one, abundance. Okay, I'm gonna just hold this. Abundance is a state of being. Woo! The way I'm being dealt with on this story of beingness. You can allow yourself to become a victim of chance, or you can embrace the spirit of abundance through your expectation of always having enough. Do you have a sense of overflowing? Thule Kobodo. Do you feel gratitude for everything that is in your life? Do you give thanks for the little things as easily as the big wins? The word abundance often brings to mind financial wealth, but abundance can be expressed in all areas of your life. This card guides you to feel abundance in whatever ways you can. This feeling of abundance will call more abundance to you in return. If it's love you seek, feeling an abundance of joy can draw love closer to you. If you seek money, an abundance of hope can be your ticket to wealth and material success. Do not live in fear of not having enough. Be grateful for the richness that is already present in your life and watch as more abundance flows to you. Okay, my people are home. Okay. And then here's the second card that came through, which is the ancients. The ancients are a collective of all beings who have walked Mother Earth's surface before you. They are the trees, the animals, plants, and the ancestors whose bodies have returned to the soil to become one with the earth again. They are always watching out for you and supporting you in ways you can't imagine. You can call on them at any time, but they are especially helpful when you feel as though your back is against the wall. There is no shame in seeking support. I will say that one again. There is no shame in seeking support. There are some things that are too big for you to handle on your own. The ancients have come to your reading because your situation needs a helping hand from a higher power. This card presents itself when you have done everything you can to make something work or change your situation, and still that is not enough. There is no more for you to do at this time. You are being guided to surrender your troubles to the ancients who will facilitate the best possible outcome. This message is especially important if you have pulled the prayer card, which we didn't pull. But for me, this is really, really, how can I put this? Mind you, this is the second time these cards are coming to me. And as I'm rebuilding my life, figuring out what my next step is, trying to find a job or trying to build conversations with a love activist in a new way, I really have to be serious about the ways that I hold myself apart, because those things will only delay how I can live in the most authentic way possible. So I will leave you with this beautiful question for this week. Where is it? Yeah. I invite you to notice, where are you holding love back from yourself? That is the question that you're dealing with this week. And on Wednesday, I'll be checking in on you guys to see how the work has been going, and asking us to go deeper into this work. And then on Friday, I will leave us with a little self-love act that we can do during the weekend. So I can't believe that we are here. I can't believe it's been 6 years, and thank you so much for going on this crazy, beautiful journey. See you on Wednesday. Love you.